Hey, today I'm going to talk about the cardinal movements of birth, which is what's going on for the baby inside the mother as she is going through labor. So, the first three steps in the cardinal movements of birth is the descent and flexion as the baby is moving down into the birth canal. That's them descending and flexing their head, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Also, the baby is internally rotating. So, this is all a part of the fine process of the baby getting into the perfect position to be born. Um, the internal rotation usually happens in the space that we sometimes know as transition or the quietude, because this happens at the very end of the first stage of labor, right before the mother starts pushing. And sometimes this can take a very long time for the baby to internally rotate. And the baby does this because it knows, it has its internal compass in the way which it is supposed to be born. It's following its energetic blueprint and it's just doing what it's supposed to. The baby is rotating because they move into the birth canal sideways so that this part of the head can be born first because it has the smallest circumference. So the baby first rotates their head to be in the perfect position. If they're in the left occiput anterior position, they only have a 45-degree angle to move their head, which is why it's the most favorable position, and where if a baby is posterior, it's going to be a little bit more challenging of a birth because the baby doesn't have the same ability to be able to flex and extend its head in the same way to come out of the birth canal. So first the baby moves their head into the perfect alignment, and then it shifts their body to be in alignment with their head to come into the birth canal smoothly. They do this, obviously, because we want this part of the head to come out first, and we also would like the shoulder to be able to slide under the pubic bone and come out easily. This internal rotation can be a lengthy experience, and sometimes I think when women are in positions where they're pushing for a really long time and nothing is happening, even though they're dilated, it's because the baby hasn't rotated yet. They're not in optimal position for birth. And I think that pushing too soon leaves or uses up a lot of energy that it doesn't need to be used up, and can really tire the mom out and make her feel exhausted or defeated. And it's not going anywhere because the baby's not ready to be born. So this is one of the reasons why it's best to let a mother allow her body to tell her when she's ready to push, because when the baby's ready to be born, it's just going to happen. And if it's not ready, we're wasting energy. And can also kind of force the baby into a less optimal position. So after the descent, flexion, and internal rotation, then we have extension, when the baby is perfectly lined up with the birth canal and they can extend their head out so that this part comes out first and their shoulders slip under the pubic bone and they come right out. And then there is restitution and the external rotation, where they often happen in one smooth moment after the birth of the head. Sometimes there's a resting phase after the head is born. Sometimes it happens pretty quickly, and the external rotation is the rest of the baby's body lining up with the head and the shoulders, because obviously they're a little twisted as they're coming out. And that's the cardinal stages of birth.